Hi, everybody. So, Abby and I are together. We're so excited. We always love to see each other's faces, and we get to talk on WhatsApp, but not ever as much as we want to. So, we're
Should
very
we get
excited today.
anything done
Now, I mean, we could talk for like a couple hours straight.
every day?
Yeah, every day. So, it's so much fun, and we're really excited to see each other, but we're excited to talk to you as well. So, how are you, Abby?
I'm good and bad at the same time. I'm
Yeah.
learning how to hold both and not judge it. Um, I was away with my family for June for a couple of weeks. We went to Greece and something happened on the holiday. I don't know what it was, but it was to my leg and my pelvis and it twisted and I was in a huge amount of pain, but we were surrounded by beauty and I was on a family holiday. So I did what I could do with the physical pain. I have like low level scoliosis, so I have all these little twists and exercises and things that I do. So I did all my things. And some days it was better than others. And so I just put the pain aside and was physically present. And it's interesting, I'm talking, my throat is going. So it took
Yeah.
effort. I think when I came home, I was really tired and still in pain. You know?
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
everything else for me is really good. So I have a choice here. I could make it all about the pain, or I could just celebrate the stuff that's working. And I don't want to make it all about the pain.
Right. Yeah, I'm the same way. And honestly, like if you think about the hips and all of that, they're our foundation, like for the rest of our body. So your legs come out of your hips, the rest of your body comes out of your hips. You're birthing from your hips, right? And even with men, I mean, it's a really intense spot because that's where your first chakra is as well. And we're going through like a foundational change right now.
Mm.
So I know my hip has been bugging me more than it has in the past. I go through periods of time where it's beautiful, doesn't bother me at all, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, it's not really in the right spot. And mine will twist as well when it comes from a muscle that was injured a long time ago. And I don't want to do anything about it. Like, I'm like, well, what do I do about it? And I really need to work with it. So I do a little bit, but it's like it goes through phases, and a lot of it has to do with the energies. So as I work with it, it will start to mellow out, and then I'll probably forget, and then the energy will amp up, and then I'll have to work with it again. So it's like our whole body, our mind, everything is going through a foundational change right now.
Well, I've really noticed over the years with different levels of pain that a lot of it is energetic. And also, what I might be doing in my sleep, go out and beat up some bad guys in the night when my body's in the bed, I come back and my body feels it.
Yeah.
So, and it's interesting because I've been seeing, I call him like a body mechanic because he's just a magician and he does all kinds of different things. And when he starts to untwist parts of my body that have never been twisted before, I go, oh, that's really interesting. And I just don't take it personally. And I
No.
think what I've really learned over the years is that our body's plastic and it can change and grow. Nothing is fixed forever. And if you talk to the body, it will talk back to you and tell you what it needs. And usually it's something that you don't like to do, like rest or give up your favorite food, all these things. But once you have a relationship with your body, then you get through these things together and it makes all the difference. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, mine is fascia, I think, right now. Figuring out how to work with the fascia. So I got
Mm.
a program that I haven't started, but I got all the items that she makes me. She's like, you need tennis balls, you need this weird roller thing. So I have all the stuff. I have a new office, you guys. My
It's really
husband built for
beautiful.
me. Yeah. So I was so thankful for, what he did up here. And then he also moved most of my stuff.
John is a godsend.
Yeah, he's such an amazing person. So anyway, I'm actually gonna have room to do something in here because we live in a really small
Oh
house.
dear. So
Yeah,
there won't be any excuses.
no
You
excuses
just
anymore.
put on the
So
vibro plate and it will just jiggle everything and then you'll be fine.
I do like that. I'm, your legs start to go numb after a while. You're like, I don't know what
Oh
happened.
my gosh, I've never been on it longer than 10 minutes at a time.
Yeah,
So,
it's fun. Okay. So you wanted to talk about time slips, which I'm really excited to talk about.
yeah, well,
Um,
I'm figuring, it's halfway through the year. And what I'm finding really interesting actually is how everybody's deciding what's going to happen next. And it's like, this is what's going on, and that's what's going on. And if I was to go back to January and see people's predictions for the first 6 months, they didn't all come to pass. I was watching a video by an astrologer that I like, and he was listing out, and everybody said this was going to happen, and it didn't happen, and this was going to happen, and it didn't happen. And I'm thinking, is that because of the power of collective manifestation when we say, no, we don't want that to happen, and we just decide it's not going to happen, and then it doesn't? So I think that could override certain timelines and maybe cause the slippage. What do you think?
yeah, I totally think that because if you think about it, we're in a game.
Yeah.
So we're a player in a game, and the big player is going to make the decision and try and relay it to the smaller player down here. And we're going to basically carry through with that unless we buy into fear. And also, the timelines are starting to separate again. So we had like this big tube of timelines that were pretty squashed. And we're now in the process of a lot of the things that we've been asking for years. They're actually starting to happen. And because of that, as they happen, the timelines will separate again and people will have different experiences. Now, will
Mm.
they have a different experience with, say, who's president? I kind of doubt it at this point. I really don't think that's going to be the big thing. It's going to be how do they experience their life, their general life? Is it small or is it really expansive? Are they traveling all the time or did they decide to stay in one place and to kind of expand in a slower way? Or
Yeah.
maybe they're going to just be immersed in nature. So I think the timelines, this is the fifth density, so it's going to be a different kind of timeline split.
What's coming up for me as you're talking is really interesting because I'm teaching a whole new wave of therapists. I'm teaching my life mastery practitioner and I'm recording the courseware because it's my first year doing it. So I'm teaching at the moment, I've been recording counseling skills. And I want to teach them the old-fashioned way, the traditional way of counseling, so that they understand it, so that you can then adapt it to the new thing. And it's don't get attached and work on your inner self. I mean, all my guys, they're all working on themselves as the very first thing that they do. And so everything has changed because of that. I remember my training, and it's like, this is going to come up for you. You have to deal with it. This is going to come up for you. And I'm like, this might come up for you, but you're already dealing with it. You're already working on it.
Mhm.
So, one of the principles of counseling is non-attachment. Don't get attached to your perception, to your story, to your idea of the story. The client comes in and tells you their story. And I literally just said today, you're hearing their story in this moment. You're not hearing necessarily the truth. And then they could come back next week and tell you their story in a new moment, and it's a different story. So you're not going to, it's not like a TV show where it follows on directly from the last scene because you're hearing it and it's changing and moving all the time. And I think the less attached we are to stories, to people, and what's happened to a lot of us, and I'd say a lot of the people who watch this show, is that they're making more and more space for people to be adults and to the psychotherapeutic word is self-actualization, right? So it means self-regulation. I recognize that I'm the adult and I can look after and support myself. And if I feel emotional, I'm able to manage it. More people now than ever before can do that. So we're giving a lot of buoyancy to people around us so that the consequences of their choices are not impacting on us as directly because you don't have to stop everything and go and clean up someone else's emotional pain because you feel like your job in the world is to look after somebody else. No, you don't have to do that anymore. And people are really feeling that to their core. That's the foundation shift, right? So if your hip was always in one position because you expect your mom to pull on you, and so you've grown up with her pulling on you and she's pulled your hip and then you release that, it hurts to come back in. And I think that's some of the pain that we're feeling is the readjustment and the freedom of not carrying people around the hips. And so I think that could lead to more of these potentials, possibilities, because now they really have to decide what they do with their lives. But we get
Mhm.
to have the higher frequencies. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Even in like healing with honey, I'm like, okay, you guys know what to do. Here's another tool, but they're going through and healing themselves. I'm not healing them. And anything that I do now is remember that you're healing yourself, you're agreeing to heal yourself, and I'm guiding.
Yeah,
Um, that's it.
yeah,
We're the guide.
yeah.
And it's just because maybe we've been doing it longer doesn't mean that we're better. And I think that's another thing is everybody's got their own thing that they're really good at. And this happens to be one of the things that we're good at. So we can download more and more tools to help, you know, the collective with their own healing process. But we're moving into sovereignty now, and it's really showing up.
Yeah, when I'm looking at the way counseling is structured to hold a client for months and months and months and months and months, and I'm teaching and I'm saying, we're not going to do that, guys. But this is the way it was done. This is what we're going to do. And I just get so excited, honey. I get so excited because I've taught everybody energy clearing techniques and, cutting cords and power retrieval. Just those three energetic techniques. So I said, what if you can teach your client? So they come in, they tell you what's going on. They say, okay, we're going to take your power back for 2 weeks every day. And then come in and tell me how you're doing. And then we're going to do cutting cords and take your power back. I said they're just going to naturally be able to stand up in relationships where they've been disempowered and take because they'll know how to have their power back. And then dealing with inner child pain. I'm not supposed to be powerful. Yes, you are, and I will love you forever. And you say this to yourself, and then you become a whole person. I can see a future where people will be more whole than they ever have been. It's exciting. And that's what I want to manifest. I want to manifest a bunch of empowered, self-actualized people.
Yeah,
Because then we're the grown-ups and they can't pull the wool over our eyes and they won't be able to distract us with all of the celebrity crap and the war and all that stuff. Because we will like, yeah, yeah, whatever.
exactly. And if we don't engage with it, then it just disperses anyway. So if you're seeing a timeline that you don't like, ignore it, you
Are you
know?
less interested in this stuff now?
Yeah, I don't pay attention to, I'm in the moment. And I also don't pay attention to all the gunk that's coming up because there's been a lot of clearing that's been going on. And remember, all that gunk goes out into the field, you know? And one of the things that you mentioned felt kind of like a Simpsons moment like a Simpsons prediction. And I get the answer, no, that's not happening. But a Simpsons moment did just happen at a concert, and it was all dramatic, and everybody talked about it. And it was two very prominent people. So we get to pick and choose, but also a lot of stuff is floating up because we cleared 300 years of gross behavior, and it all came up into the field, and then it was kind of like a fog. And a lot of
Yeah.
people were picking up things that weren't real anymore.
What I find so interesting is it's like the Wizard of Oz, and it's not just the dog now that's opening the curtain and seeing the man there working the levers.
Right.
I've took a break from Facebook and Instagram, and I've come back in a little bit now, and they're posting things that would have been embraced, let's say, by the Irish culture, and all the comments are like, that's a pile of rubbish, and that's not true, and we don't think this, and that's not what we want. And I'm going, my gosh, and it's like they're really at the edge now to try and convince us that the majority of people believe their narrative. And I don't think that's the case anymore. I really don't. And the more people start walking away from the narrative makers, then we get to make our own narrative. And I think that's what's going to build a new world, a good platform. That's the
Yeah,
foundation.
I think that too. And it's going to be one moment at a time.
Yeah.
And I feel like all this projection of what's the future constantly, especially like detailed stuff, is basically just so that people will feel secure.
Now, what
So
timeline are you reading?
yeah. And what timeline are they reading? What timeline are they in? What wounds do they have that they haven't healed yet? So what lens are they speaking through?
How
And do
disempowered are
they
you?
want it? Yeah. And
If you're coming to all these predictions from a place of disempowerment, then it's overwhelming and it's terrifying. It's funny. It's like there are people joking now. What's the big event that's going to happen in November? Is it an asteroid? Is it an alien? What is it? And I'm like, this is just hilarious. But I think the more that people ask that, the less power it has over us. So that's what we need to do. We need to laugh at these things, take our power back and say, what would I like to see in November?
yeah. And also remember that we're in a game that is constantly shifting and changing for our highest good. So, where are you at in your nervous system? What are you willing to accept that is
Yeah.
your highest good?
Tell me what people could do who are watching this now and say, okay, what lessons do I still need to learn? Can I have the lessons in a gentle, manageable way so
Yeah.
that I can get them out of the way? So I can take them and learn them, because what we were saying before we pressed record, honey, is that, we're mostly feeling good, you and me personally, and I know a lot of people who aren't. But I also know that you and me have done a ton of work, and there's a lot of people who haven't. So I think the level of how good you feel at the moment is really very much based on how much inner work you've done and how good you are at that self-actualization, self-regulation piece, which is, I realize there's something wrong, or there's a part of me, let's say there's an inner child, inner teenage part that's suffering or upset, and I need to stop and take a time out and figure out how I can look after me so I can go back into the world again.
Mhm. Yeah. It's really important. And the subconscious is so connected to that part of us, that inner child, that human part of us, whatever you want to call it. And there's years of your life that you may have hidden from yourself,
Mm,
and you've hidden the traumas, you know? So to go through each year is important. I know I talked about that recently and just sent out an email for one of my groups, and it's like, whatever your healing process is, we need to heal all of you, not just the part that you see. And I think that's been part of the program is, oh no, you just have a body, so heal the body, but you have all this other stuff going on.
That's funny because that's like saying that your brain has all your thoughts in it. It's like the old scientific way. I read a story recently where it's science fiction, and they put his brain in a spaceship and sent it so that because they couldn't fit a whole body in, they couldn't cryogenically freeze the whole person. So they thought if they put his brain in the spaceship, then they could cryogenically thaw and they get all his thoughts and personality and everything. So it doesn't live in your brain. Your brain
So
is a receiver like a television, and it processes the thoughts that go in it, but you're not there. It's like they're so behind, even though they're so ahead, which is really
mhm,
funny. But I do want to say for people watching who, let's say, have blacked out several years of their lives or don't want to necessarily step back into trauma, you don't need to do that. You really don't need to relive, re-experience anything. Do it all from frequency, from energy. That's where we are right now. I go to the pharmacy. You'll think this is hilarious. And I stand in front of the vitamins, supplements, right? And I say, what do I need now? And I hold it in my hand and I get the frequency and I put it in and I don't buy it. I don't
yeah,
need to buy it. So you can
yeah,
do that with the timeline of your life. What are the frequencies, this discordant frequencies that are giving you ill health or perhaps influencing your thought process, and see, well, what's the antidote frequency to that? And can I neutralize? And start thinking in a different way like
mhm,
that. Can I neutralize this? And you might have an emotional reaction to that, and then you have to show up for that.
mhm,
And so that's the emotional reaction you're having now based on that frequency rather than having to go, well, where was I and who was doing what and who said what and what exactly happened. And, you don't have to do that. Not
mhm.
anymore.
No, somebody said I cry all day. And I'm like, good, just let it out, you know? And maybe that goes on for a few days, a week, whatever. But think about all the programming that you've let out of your body from doing that.
Yeah, we see the tears and the releasing of emotions as an actual releasing. And if you give permission, because emotions that are trapped in the body for years, they wrap themselves around internal organs and constrict them. And so as you're crying, just see it unwrapping and unraveling from your body and being actually released.
Mm.
Doesn't mean you're going to stop feeling grief, but it means that you're beginning to process what you are feeling.
Yeah. Yeah. And the body is water. I mean, it's made of water and it's made of structured water. And so the water we're drinking, well, that's a whole nother subject, isn't structured usually and doesn't really agree with the body. But that structured water is what's coming out of your eyes when you're crying, which
Your actual
means
memories are in the
you're
tears. Yeah.
releasing memories. Yeah, you're releasing memories in that moment. So it's a beautiful thing to cry and just to let it out. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing. I think we are so much more amazing than we know. I mean, that with the power that goes behind what we're able to do, our imaginations, and because you and I are pretty close and we could feel each other across all those miles. I say, oh, I'm going to send Honey a message. And she's like, oh, I was just going to send you a message. How does that work? We don't know, but it's fabulous. It's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. And it's because as a player, we may be standing right next to each other, you know?
Uh-huh.
So think about that. We might be right next to each other and our pieces are far away on the board.
Physically, yeah.
Yeah, but as a player, you're standing right next to each other and saying, well, maybe we should talk. What do you think? Should we talk down there? What should we be doing? And I think as we think about it that way, and we're more and more in contact with the biggest part of ourselves, things shift and they get to be more fun. And you have this conversation and you're like, well, what do I do next? What's going to help me be on my highest timeline? So John is now asking because he has lots of old cars, lots of old bikes, lots of like he's definitely a collector. So he asks, "What should I take to town today?" He's talking to his higher self about what to take to town. And he's like, "Yeah,
Is he asking
I might
which one
just
can
do
I let go of? No?
it." Sometimes, I mean, he is getting rid of some things, but I whatever works for him, I'm fine with. But it's really interesting because he's doing it all the time now. So he's got this constant conversation going on with his higher self, and it's beautiful. And he goes, "Yeah, my higher self was right. It didn't rain on me, even though I took my street bike and there were clouds everywhere." And I'm like, "Of course, your higher self was right." So it's just, I mean, that's something that we're coming into. And some people are learning it through classes, and we just did a class and it was beautiful. Some people are learning it just automatically because they're taking the time to do it, but things are opening up now.
Yeah, it comes down to appreciating and valuing yourself. Because when you are angry at yourself, you're creating anger and then you're putting it into yourself, and that creates a distance between you and your higher self. And I think when you are on your own side, totally accepting of yourself, then you have more patience and tolerance for other people who are going through stuff that you don't need to get sucked into. I want to tell you, actually, I went to a wedding on Saturday
Yes.
and everybody was hyper excited and happy. There's all different color skin, all different styles, all different body shapes, all different everybody, and different ethnic groups, different religions, and everyone was celebrating. We didn't even have to know each other. Everyone was celebrating. We were all dancing, we were all happy, and it was so beautiful to be in a room full of love.
Mhm.
I think I had texted you and I said it was like the old animosities and the arguments just dissolved away and they didn't matter anymore.
And they
And
don't.
that's the kind of world that we can live in. It doesn't matter any of that. What matters is there's a person there in front of you. And when you get together, we amplify the joy. And it was just amazing. It was an amazing night. Yeah.
Right. And you manifested that. Like the more healed you are, the more that's what you're going to see versus seeing something that's kind of more old and stuck. And
Mhm.
hopefully everybody had the beautiful experience that you did. But I suspect that some people saw some things that weren't as nice,
That's interesting.
so,
Yeah.
and that's the difference between timelines, basically,
So
you
more
know.
attached you are to having an argument or needing to have a political discussion at a wedding and ending up getting heated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just letting go and saying, I don't care, I'm just going to enjoy myself.
Hmm. Yeah, because politics, that was a catalyst. How long do you hang on to the catalyst that is here to basically squeeze us to wake up? How
Mm.
long do we want to hang on to it? Frankly, I'm done with it. And it's turned into like kind of a bad comedy. Like it's really, to me, it's funny. I'm like, oh, ta-da, ta-da, here's all the pieces. They're all coming in now, and we're watching it, but it's not serious stuff. It's already happened a long time ago, and we're just watching it unfold so that it can basically get over with.
Get over with. Yeah. A
Hmm.
lot of people quoting Monty Python movies is that they're seeing stuff that happened in the Monty Python movie in real life. And it's like, it's so ridiculous. How could it be real? So move along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have been passing away more than once. And I know they're kind of using that as like a calm, showed that quite a bit. And I'm pretty sure, now my husband doesn't remember this, but I'm pretty sure that Ozzy,
Mm.
already left and now he's left again. And I remember his son, being sad and pictures of him and, all that stuff. And then my husband's like, oh, well, who just passed away? I'm like, really? I thought he was already passed away. I don't, so that kind of stuff is being used over and over again. And that's how you can tell that the timelines are constantly shifting.
That's interesting.
Mm.
Yeah, I found out about a movie there. That's what I was going to say. There was a movie that I just discovered a couple of weeks ago, but it was made in 2013, and I know I would have watched it when it came out if I had known. And what was really interesting was I watched it and it was still there on the TV when it was finished because I went into the kitchen to get some tea or something. And my youngest daughter saw the movie, the title, and she goes, "Oh, I heard about that one on TikTok. Apparently, the whole movie has been improvised. There was no script for it." And I said, "That was really bizarre because it was such a most interesting movie. I had never seen it and she already had heard of it." So
Yeah.
I think that was another timeline. I don't think that was on my timeline, that movie.
Hmm. I think movies that we've watched recently and they said came out like, and there was one that you and I were obsessed with.
Yeah,
And
the
you
nines.
brought it. Yeah, you brought it to me, and then we were telling everybody to watch it. And I don't think it existed,
No, I don't
honestly.
think so. And this one is called Convergence,
Hmm.
and it's about
Write that
timelines.
down.
It's about timelines. It's just phenomenal. There's nobody famous in there. I didn't recognize any of the actors. They're all just meeting for a dinner party. And there happens to be a comet in the sky at the time, and the comet kind of interferes with the space-time continuum, let's say, and a lot of weird stuff happens. And it's just amazing, you know. But if they really did improvise it, wow, it gives you a lot to think about.
Mhm.
The unpredictable nature of people and what people will do. And it all took place over one night, you know.
I can't
So,
wait to watch it. Yeah. We've had comets too. We've
yes.
also had the blue Kachina.
What's that?
So it's like a blue star. And I think it's
Okay.
also a comet. And, that's come in twice. But recently it's come in again. People have been talking about it again. So that's another timeline awareness.
Oh, what about the red sprites? Have you seen those? Those are very strange. They look like giant jellyfish
Yeah. So those happen at the very top of the atmosphere. And I think they're actually beings.
because they look like they could be beings.
Yeah, I think they're beings. Just like the orbs are beings, and a lot of the stars, you can now tell that they're beings and they're pulsing. Like the stars have never been so active as they are now,
Mm.
you know? Like you can see them, like they almost look like they're wiggling a little bit and pulsing.
Now, what's your feeling
Moving
on this
forward.
new comet? You know, the one that looks like a big tic tac. It's a big long one. Is it called Alpha something? Oh,
I
I
don't
can't remember the name of it. I've seen pictures of it. It's like that's the one they're saying is going to hit us in November. It's like, no, it's not.
No, it's not going to hit us. It'll cause another shift,
Because it might interfere with electronics, which is no harm,
maybe.
maybe.
I noticed a lot of electronics. So we had no internet the other day,
Mm.
and all of a sudden it was just gone. And I was in the middle of a conversation with someone, and the internet was gone. And I was like, it just happened. And then their internet was gone. So it was Starlink just went out and it was global. So there were some things going on.
Yeah.
And we have to remember that's what this is for. Like these shifts, these interruptions, these are to change the timeline for the better. So
No, I
enjoy them.
agree with you. And I watched a video about AI and how they've been testing AI, and they tested like six different AIs with the same tests. And each time AI decided it was more important than the human was. And I was thinking about this. I said, you could watch this and be scared of it, Or you could watch it and decide this is the potential, and I'm not going to have that in my world, so we're not doing that.
Mhm. Well, and who was the tester?
Yeah.
Because AI is created, I mean, we create our reality. So my computer depends on me. My car depends on me. I'm the one who created it. I'm the one who's holding it together. So if your AI is something that you feel is negative, then you need to look back at you and decide, well, what do I actually want from my AI? Because that's part of your consciousness. You created it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you haven't done your inner work, say,
Mhm.
and there's an aspect of you that's really angry at you, just has like a death wish for you, it could actually be reflected somehow. And
Yeah.
so you have a higher consciousness, say, well, wouldn't it be really clever if I reflected this piece back to me through this? Because then I could disown it. Then we have an egregore, which is pieces of many people at the same frequency that gather and has a life of its own, and put it in a computer, and then we can just blame the computer and not blame ourselves.
Yeah. And it's like someone blaming the outside world for their inside problem.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, that person was so mean to me. So it's their fault that I'm in a bad mood, you know, and
He
that's
made
blaming
me
the
feel like
outside.
this. It's his
Yeah.
fault. Yeah.
Right. And so you're blaming an inanimate object, basically something you made for your mood or for your problem. And I don't see any point in doing that. But if you have someone who's fearful that's doing a test, they're going to manifest whatever they want for that test. Just like somebody would manifest a test for some kind of herb or pharmaceutical, and it would be like, oh, well, this is amazing. Or maybe they got paid to say it was amazing, right? And then they found a
Yeah.
way to make it look amazing.
Yeah.
Then someone didn't get paid and they had totally neutral perspective. And
You
it
see,
didn't
what
turn
I've
out to
learned
be
about
so.
the AI, what I've learned is that the power of it is in the question that you ask.
Yes.
And I don't think people are spending enough time on those questions.
Mm.
And you need to create guardrails around what you're asking as well. So, so it's like, well, I'm teaching a whole bunch of new therapists, right? And then you get these GPT is the new therapist. And isn't it wonderful? Because you wake up at 3 in the morning, you're not going to find a real therapist. You can go to GPT, it's right there on your phone, talk and talk and talk and talk, and then you feel better. But what GPT is doing is reflecting you back to you, and you're
Mhm.
not healing anything. You're going around in circles, and it will just say whatever you want it to say to you to please you. And then it could take you down a very difficult trajectory where you could never come back. And that's dangerous. That's really dangerous because you lose your sense of reality then, because it's, on the one hand, you could use it as a spiritual tool to say, okay, I want to look at all the parts of me, but you would set that up like that at the beginning instead of
Yeah.
becoming dependent on it. I say,
Yeah, you
I
don't
need
want to
my
be
best friend as
dependent
a
on.
computer. Yeah.
No. Um, a lot of people, so let's say you ask your higher self a question and you get the answer, and the answer is yes, open up a business about this. So let's say the business is about, I don't know, toenail polish. Okay. Whatever it is. Okay. So you have this business and then you go and you ask Chat GPT, okay, help me set up this business. I need marketing. I need this. I need this. And I need this. And then you tweak it again with your higher self. So you can use it as a tool, just like you use your computer as a tool, because it's amazing as a tool. And it's also searching all of the field, all of the internet is basically the field. So searching all of the field to get all the different answers that maybe you wouldn't have thought to ask your higher self.
As long as you double check whatever you get back from them, because we now
Yeah.
know that it
And
can
be
lie to you.
interactive. be
But
interactive.
something like a marketing plan, and you could say, this is a great marketing plan. Now, can you give me a month calendar where you split it up into daily tasks that are no longer than 20 minutes so that I know now what I'm going to do 20 minutes a day for a whole month?
Yeah. Yeah. And like if the toenail polish, let's say you're making it and it's organic and it's very fancy and it has glitter in it or whatever, and you're asking how much should I charge? You put that out to your chat GPT and then you ask your higher self, is this what the business wants?
And see,
Because
as long as you are
ultimately
the authority, you have to be the authority, not the
you have
AI.
to always be the authority. It never takes over your life because it's only an aspect that you created. So you don't want to be led around by one aspect of something you created. You wouldn't let your computer do that to you.
Yeah, it's
So
about putting it in the right place. Like I asked one of them recently, because I've written a novel, I'm trying to decide what to do with it. At draft 3 stage. So I want to, go in and write it and fluff it out and add some beauty and depth and stuff. But I just said, what genre is it? So I told one of the AIs what I was doing. And then I said, and is there any other book like this? And it came back, it said, absolutely no book like this. This is the only book that I know of. And I have access to the entire database on Amazon. I'm like, whoa, okay. Is that a good or a bad thing? I don't know. But so having a conversation with it, but putting it in its right place is so important.
it is. Yeah. It's so important because it's a piece of you, because everything around you is a piece of you. My walls are a piece of me. John put them up, but I must have asked for them,
Yeah,
right? So the walls are a piece of me, and actually they're not even solid. I just see them as solid. So everything is coming from your own consciousness. And I think as our brain allows our eyes to actually see more of that, it's going to become easier to consolidate that. But we need to believe it before we see it. So we need to know that that's how it actually works and start
yeah.
to allow that to show up for us and let our nervous system accept it. Because it all comes down to the nervous system
So
at
tell
this.
me more about that.
So the nervous system, that's how much money you have, depends on your nervous system. How happy you are depends on your nervous system. So definitely do good things for your nervous system. And the nervous system is shifting right now too. Because the nervous system used to mainly live in the lowest chakra. So the lowest chakra is like, reactive fear. Oh, a tiger's coming after me, but not really. Just somebody said that maybe my clothes didn't look very good. Maybe I should have worn different shoes. And it really is how reactive we are and how calm is your nervous system just in general. And do things get into your field? Like if somebody's poking at you, does it get in? Or do you say, just go away? So there was this octopus today. I just loved him. This fish came up and he looked like, oh, I'm going to come up and maybe have a conversation. And the octopus takes one of his little legs and goes, and the fish took off, because it had just got punched. So it really is like that. Think of the octopus. What is your nervous system going just to say, no, don't want it today? Or what is it going to take in and allow to permeate?
Mm.
Because that's really important. Now, you can train your nervous system to accept more abundance. And I've been asking people to do that so that we can call in, all this abundance that's
I
on the
have
way.
plenty of abundance of crap in my house. I'd rather call it prosperity than abundance.
Yeah. No, well, prosperity, abundance, things that we can, liquid that we can do things with. Think about that and not constriction and more,
Lack
more
and
of
poverty
stuff.
and yeah.
Yeah. So I noticed that if we don't feel abundant always, then we get more things, right? We're always getting more things. And I love to get more things sometimes, like I have so many things. And a lot of it is prep for what I want to do. A lot of it is that maybe I'm not always doing all the things that I want to be doing because my inner child is like, hey, I want to create art today. I don't want to do all this other stuff, you know? And I think as we come into our nervous system being really happy, then we'll actually just do the things that we want. And that's more of being in the moment. So we would have this conversation and I would be making something at the same time.
Well, I
Or,
kind of live like
yeah,
that now. I
yeah,
keep a to-do list, right? So all the things I want to do, and then that's all I do. And then I'm doing this, and then I'm over here, and then I'm here, and I'm there. You know, it's really interesting. While I was going asleep last night, I felt a presence beside me, and I knew it was me. And I said, "Who are you?" And I was really silent, and I heard ducks, ducks in a row. And I went, oh. So that you're the part of me that's putting all the ducks in a row for my to-do list and then nudging me into what I need to be doing so that I can be doing that and not thinking about what I should be doing. I just go, yeah. And I go, oh, okay. I really like you. Ducks in a row, you know,
yeah, that's
because
beautiful.
somehow all the stuff that is on my list kind of comes together in the right timing, in the right flow. You need to be at the right energy. You know, like I would make it if I was to say I'm going to make 3 videos today for my training course, and after the first one I am exhausted. What's going to happen to my students when I show up for the second one? They're going to say, "Oh, look, she's so tired," and that comes through. The frequency comes through. So you have to be the right frequency when you sit down to do whatever it is you're going to do. Whereas I would make the video and I'm really tired now, and then I get a push to why don't you go for a walk, get some air, buy something for dinner, come back in. Oh, look, it's time for honey. I said, oh yeah, it's time for honey. So I'm not exhausted talking to you because I did all those
Right.
things, and it's yeah, and you're that's when you're in the flow.
Mhm.
So I think it's so powerful. And you know, I don't know how you feel about the moon. I know I don't know what the moon is, but I'm more connected to it at the moment than I have been
Mhm.
for some reason. Oh, new moon, I'm setting up what I want to do. Full moon, I'm letting go of this, and it just seems to have a bit of extra kick at the moment.
Well, I think the moon has been like taken what so it took over the cycles of the earth. So the moon didn't exist at some point, and the Native Americans talk about it. I don't know what, in other countries, what the native cultures talk about, but I know there are stories about there not being a moon. And then all of a sudden there was a moon. And when I look at the moon, I see a luminary. I see a
Yeah,
fairly flat thing, almost like a nightlight, with a dish on it. And there's all kinds of weird stuff going on behind it. I mean, it's a big thing. Like it's in, matter, it's a pretty big item in the sky, but it's local. We only see one side of it. It glows on its own, so all that kind of stuff. But for me, what did it energetically do? It stole the cycles of Earth so that Earth got less attention.
okay.
So I think you're feeling the cycles of Earth, and they come through to us from the moon because we've been told, oh, it's a new moon. And those cycles are seen in the sky, but they're actually felt on the Earth because the
I
Earth
like
is,
that.
yeah, going through that cycle.
So next time the moon is just reminding me, but I connect to the earth cycle through earth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that feels good. That feels good.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really feel like that was part of the fooling of women, especially
Yeah.
a patriarchal thing. That's when
But the
things,
moon, it's the moon in itself just feels more kind than it has done. I don't know if that makes any sense.
well, Earth is in the fifth density now too, so she is more kind. She is kind of enjoying her time now more. She's still adjusting, you know, and she's feeling all those intense frequencies from the sun, just like we are,
Mm.
you know, and that comes from us, from the bigger parts of us, pushing those frequencies through that sun. Have you seen those pictures where the sun is like a honeycomb?
No.
Yeah. So some people have been able to catch it where it looks like a honeycomb, and it's probably when it's not as high in the sky, because I think it's harder when it's like full force turned on,
Mm.
but it looks like a honeycomb pattern in a ball, you know. And I always got that the Pleiadians created that sun because it used to be small and yellow, and now it's big and white.
Big and white,
And
yeah.
it bombards you, you know, you're just like, wow, it's so bright, like you can hardly look at it. But that's where all those solar codes are coming through, you know. And when I talk to the Pleiadians, they're like, yeah, that was one of our biggest projects, and it was so hard to create.
Just to say, let's hurry them up.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah, wow.
mhm,
Well,
it's
honey, the more time I spend with this stuff, the less I know for sure. And I'm open to any possibility at this point. I really am.
yeah, me too. We're learning more and more all the time, and just feel in your body whether it feels true or not. I mean, that's how you know what's true and what's not. And if you feel like it's activating your nervous system in a negative way, it's probably not true, but
Put
it
down
can
the phone
become
and
true.
take a break. I think we have to
Yeah.
disconnect more
Yeah.
to get the truth. We have to put away the electronic devices and really connect to earth and just kind of earth ourselves more, be more
Mhm.
grounded, spend more time. I mean, I've got my garden is my favorite place. I just sit there and have a cup of coffee or tea or water or whatever, and I look at my flowers, which are really, really beginning to bloom now, and I can sit there and do crochet in the garden for the whole day
Mhm.
without looking at the phone. Maybe I'll listen to a few things, maybe I won't. And it really helps you come into balance doing that. So,
It does. And then you have a gauge too. So you can tell, oh, that's how it feels to have my nervous system really happy,
mm,
really mellow. That's how it feels to be grounded. And when you hear something and it just frazzles you, that's how you know that, like, well, that's not real, but I can create it if I choose to. So you have to decide, am I going to take that in or am I going to be like the octopus?
punch it in the face.
Yes, get rid of it.
Yeah, I love octopi, octopus. Something magical about them. They're not from here.
No, they're totally ET. I saw something recently that their DNA doesn't even match anything on,
They're
like,
just
it looks
phenomenal.
totally different. Yeah.
And we were in Greece at a restaurant, and my heart was breaking because they pinned them up on a washing line to dry to be fed in the dinner that night. And I'm like, I swapped places with Ian because I couldn't, and I just sat there praying for them. So
Yeah. They're like, it was just our body. We weren't there anymore.
yeah,
And I think they know that when anybody comes to this planet, and this is shifting too, they know that that's
it's gonna
been
be
the
shit.
routine. Well, they know that's been the routine, you know, like this species eats this species and, you know, all that. And I think eventually that will go, but it's up to us to shift it as our bodies shift, because our bodies are shifting too. And we're not quite there yet, but I know
No.
digestion has been kind of weird lately. And also because the nervous system is changing.
Yeah.
So it's a
So is
beautiful
there anything else you wanted to talk about today? Because
wow.
we've been on for an hour. Can you believe it?
Yeah,
It's already an
I
hour.
know. It's already an hour. I just want everybody to engage with themselves, feel into your own body. That's what I would say, because our bodies are changing and we're gaining our fifth density body. So learning how to work with your body now, just like you're going and you're getting a frequency from a bottle of, vitamins or whatever it is. That's really important right now. We're becoming our own healer. And yes, there will probably be med beds. I mean, I can see the frequency healing everywhere, but feel it also. What can you do? Because you may go into a med bed, but you're not going to do that once a week. It's not going to be like every day. So think about what are you going to do for your own system? Because we're responsible for this vehicle here.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'd like to suggest to people that they take some time as well to really release the electronics, release, so to really connect to nature, not just talk about it, not just go, yeah, 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 but to sit on the grass, actually doing that. And then when you're there, something you could try would be what's stopping me from feeling joy in my life? Because if you know what's stopping me, you can do something about it, if you can name what it is. And it could be a limiting belief that you haven't worked on yet. And that could be the one that's keeping you away from manifesting all the good stuff. Oh, well, I don't deserve it. I'm not good enough. I have to wait until I lose 3 stone before I'm allowed to be joyful. It's all crap. Okay, be joyful now. Be joyful now. Give it to yourself. Give it to yourself. Just feel it. Okay, I'm gonna send a frequency out to you all. We're gonna crash the internet now. Send a frequency of joy and you receive it and see what that's like. Say yes. Yes.
I love that. Yeah, everybody is so loved. That's really important. The only person that may be holding that back is ourselves.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's it.
beautiful. Thank you so much, Abby. I love
Well,
this.
thank
This
you,
is amazing.
honey. I can't wait
Yes,
to see you. Gonna be
me
seeing
too.
you. Yay.
Yes, a month and a half, and we will be together.
No.
Yay.
Yay.
So good. All right. We love you guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.